Colin and Penelope. Y'all, I've been dreading talking about this one. So in my previous video, I talked about the fact that I really didn't feel that Colin loved Penelope. I didn't feel that their relationship had been earned at this time, especially with the release of the first half of season 1. Everything felt so rushed and so forced, and you guys can also watch the previous video for my previous commentary on that part. But then part 2 came out, and I surprisingly liked it, but I'm also aware that there's a lot of issues with the coupling. But all in all, I still liked the conclusion, and I'm still a Polin fan officially. However, when I looked to the internet, the consensus was clearly not the same. In fact, a lot of people were disappointed with how Colin and Penelope's story wrapped up. And actually, there's a lot of points I definitely do agree with and I wanted to build on. But if you guys don't know who I am, hi, my name is Deborah, student, singer, songwriter, and anything else in between. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about my favorite TV shows and books. And today, I'm going to rant a little bit about Colin and Penelope. Let's start with the first problem that everyone agrees on. Polin's story was not center stage. I remember the whole entire trailer and the press release when it came to this couple, and I really thought their story was going to take center stage, and it was going to be as engaging and as thorough as Daphne and Simon's or Kate and Anthony's. Instead, it felt a lot of the times that the relationship was overshadowed, leaving many of us wanting more, and this is something I can actually agree with. It was the first ever criticism I made of the show in my last video. I said it myself that there was just so much I was simply missing because we did not have enough time between both of the characters. I felt that in this season, a lot of the subplots were definitely amplified and took away a focus from the main couple. That is something that all of us as people can agree on. Because there was so much character development for everybody else, it felt that there was little room for character development between both of the characters that were the main leads of the season. And the worst part is that they tried to fit this within an 8-episode mark. I don't understand why a lot of shows, especially on Netflix, are doing this, but I really feel sometimes it really just takes away from the potential story that could be so groundbreaking, all to fit an 8-episode mark. We wanted more intimacy between Colin and Penelope that was not just sexual but also passionate. And it's sad that we only got to see this towards the later half of the show. So I do understand why everybody is upset about it. But anyways, let's move to my second point. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but Colin's character did kind of feel a little bit inconsistent. And I'll try and explain what I mean. Earlier in the show, the showrunners were very focused on having Colin be this rake/connoisseur, which I told you guys in my last video that it did not fit Colin's personality at all to be a rake. I understand if he's had some sexual experiences of his own, but him being this leading man who's having threesomes doesn't really feel believable. And after this intimacy scene, this thought did pop into my head that what was the point of us seeing him constantly having threesomes? I know that some people did also comment in my last video that the threesome scenes did feel out of place, and that was correct because he was so focused on society's expectations and trying to fit in society's expectations. But the thing is, I don't know about you, but I never really got that impression from Colin. And even though it is a valid point, there wasn't enough build-up for me to believe that. It doesn't feel believable. I understand that there are expectations for men to be a certain way, especially in this era, but where is the pressure being applied here? Is it being applied from his brothers? Is it being applied from his mother? Is it being applied from his friends, who we don't even really see him have many friends outside of his brother and his family? So where is this societal pressure coming from? I know that there is a scene in which this is kind of addressed when he comes back into the ton and Lady Whistledown writes about how he's clearly trying to be something that he's not. I actually did think that was quite interesting, and that was an important point, that he's been trying to portray this ultra confident, smooth talking man where he's really not that at all. But I felt that the way the show handled it kind of didn't feel urgent enough for me to care. With Simon's issues, for example, the fact that he had very much an abusive father that caused him to practically stutter all of his childhood, I really feel like in comparison to that with Colin's issues, the show did not highlight just how much this really has affected him all of his life. The way this could have been more effective is perhaps giving us a flashback or showing moments where Colin actually internally struggled, because I'm not gonna lie, it does sound like he's just coming from a place of privilege. Other people are going through much worse situations, and it doesn't feel like Colin is a truly deep, whole character that we should care about. If he's just gonna stand and say that, oh, I don't meet these expectations and I've been trying to be something that I'm not, Why should we care about that? The show hasn't shown us just how much that's truly affected you. Yes, you feel insecure about your writing, but why? Were you teased about it? Are you just scared for disapproval? Did someone disapprove of you when you were younger? Were you made fun of amongst your friends when you were younger? Is that why you're trying to build a certain image right now? It kind of low-key feels out of the blue, and while people do try and re-explain it and grab different scenes to try and put it together, it should be more apparent. It should make me feel more for Colin as a character, but the way it is handled in the show, it doesn't. Let me give you another example. For example, with Farmer George and the Queen Charlotte story, notice how when it came to George, even though he's a king and he's having his own mental health issues, the show was able to show how he really just wants to be a farmer who just wants to live a normal life by showing us in one single scene how he doesn't really care too much for expectations given around him, and he just really wants to just be a normal guy who just farms on the land. But we don't really get the scene with Colin at all. So I kind of feel like I don't know who Colin is besides him kind of whining about his writing, or the fact that he doesn't feel like he's useful to Penelope outside of protecting her or being a man of honor. So it kind of feels incomplete. Where is Colin's character? Where is his development? Where is his growth as a person? What does he truly care about outside of writing and traveling? Okay, what else is there? Does he want to have a farm of his own? Does he not want to have a farm? Is he not really a fan of nature? In the books, one thing that they did add is that he loved food and he was a very big foodie. And I did catch some glimpses of it when he goes to get snacks in the show, but it's not really made apparent like it is in the books, where people actually comment on it and how much he loves to eat and that he's a big foodie. What happened to that? It just kind of felt like he didn't really have much of a personality in especially the later half of the show, and it was kind of disappointing. And I think it's one of the reasons why everything felt like it was just lacking in general, because there's nothing much to cling to when it comes to his character. The show left us with so much to be desired. And that also leads me to my final point. The ending was so rushed, and we did not get enough time for them to be a couple. How can we in the same show have a same subplot of Kate and Anthony just finding out that they're going to have a baby and freaking out about it, and in that same season Colin and Penelope's love story gets completely rushed and we just skip to them having children, and there's no discussion about this, there's no pre-discussion about whether they wanted children or not. We were just thrown into that scene and there was nothing in between. There was no understanding, nothing. I really thought that was crazy, and it just showed you how much they just quickly wanted to wrap things up between the both of them, not taking the time for them to really understand who they are as individuals, who they are as people. Instead, they just kind of hurried up the storyline and then they said, oh, well, you're gonna have kids now, and that's crazy to me. I just feel like they weren't given as much attention as they deserved, and so does everybody. Everyone feels the same way, but I wanted to at least elaborate my reasons, and like I said, I still like this couple. They just really deserved better. But anyways, y'all, this is my final rant about Bridgerton for now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and thank you guys so much for all the support on my previous videos. We've officially hit 10,000 subscribers and I'm literally screaming right now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next videos. Okay, bye.